On all of this, I'm joined by California Congressman Adam Schiff, the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, what about the threat and the response? The strategy now criticized soundly by John McCain as too little. Is more special ops going into Syria on combat missions? Some people are worried about mission creep.
Well, there are concerns about the expansion of the mission. Frankly, though, I think that we're going to ultimately see more is going to have to be done. You need a lot of special operators to maintain a certain tempo to be able to not only capture or kill the targets, but also exploit intelligence and then use that exploited intelligence to do another raid. The addition of another small number of special operators is probably not enough to maintain that kind of tempo to change the dynamic on the ground very much. So I think the administration is trying to affect the battlefield stalemate. I'm not sure that this is going to be enough to do it. They are plainly considering but reluctant to go further. And I think ultimately it probably will be necessary to maintain some kind of a safe zone or a buffer zone to really affect that holding that ISIS has, from which they can plan, they can plot, they can derive resources, and ultimately attack us here in the homeland.
So how much support do you think these special operators need, and how much should it be expanded to be truly effective?
Well, I have a lot of confidence in Secretary Carter. I think he's as good as it gets. He'll make sure that these special operators are surrounded by the full support team of troops that can medevac people out, that can do search and rescue, that can maintain the logistical supply chain to them. So they will be, I think, well protected and well-maintained force. The question is this going to be enough to move the needle? And it will move it somewhat. But time is not on our side here. I think that was the message that Paris really hammered home. We can't allow this plague to maintain this larger presence in Iraq and Syria. We now have increasing worries about a stronghold and holding territory potentially in Libya. So we're going to have to take, I think, much stronger, more dramatic action to go after this group.
What do you say to Americans who are worried about mission creep?
Well, I would say I share the same concern. I'm deeply worried about it. At the same time, that has to be balanced with the real concerns we have over an attack in the U.S. homeland. In the near term, we're worried about people being self-radicalized, acting out. But in the midterm, if ISIS is allowed to maintain this space, they'll have the time to plot against us. And we have the best intelligence in the world, Andrea, but even that is not going to be enough. You can't count on intelligence alone to detect each and every plot. So there are risks here. There are risks from escalation. There are risks from not escalating to deprive ISIS of that battle space.
And ISIS wouldn't be able to continue if it didn't have resources like oil. And Russia today accusing Erdogan personally, the president of Turkey's family, of benefiting from the oil smuggling to ISIS across that Turkish border. True or false?
Well, I have no idea whether his family benefits. I do think that Turkey doesn't do nearly enough to stop the flow of oil across that Syrian-Turkish border. There are smuggling routes that have been there probably for centuries. It is lucrative for some of the people on the ground. I don't think that the regime itself, that is the Turkish administration, profits from the sale of the oil. But I also don't think it's doing everything to shut down the flow of oil resources and foreign fighters across that border.
There's a report from George Washington University that ISIS has as many as 300 so-called ambassadors here in the United States, many of them women, on Twitter, on other social media, sympathizers, perhaps not terrorists themselves, but certainly sympathizers and supporters. Are the people in Silicon Valley doing enough to help the intelligence community shut this down?
Well, I've been meeting with them on precisely this question, and, certainly some of the Silicon Valley companies are being very aggressive to deprive ISIS of using their social media as a platform. I think Facebook has taken some very aggressive actions. It is difficult, I think, for some of the platforms like Twitter, I think, has a challenge because of the way its medium is used. We can always encourage and must encourage all these companies to do more. Indeed, we're having a broad debate on the whole encryption issue as well. You know, we do have a significant number of people that have been radicalized here in the United States by watching this social media campaign. Then you have another category, as you say, that may be sympathizers, but may not have crossed the line into criminality. It's a lot for our law enforcement resources to keep track of.
Adam Schiff, thank you very much, Congressman. Thanks for being with us today.